Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Monday. Our guest today sponsored by Passant Motors. That includes Patrick Johnston of the province standing by. It's March Mayhem this month at Passant. Score yourself a great deal on a new-to-you vehicle. Learn more at basantmotors.com. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox just before we get to Patrick. Don and Nanaimo. It would be nice if the NHL did what the NFL does on broadcast and has an ex-official, etc., explain penalty calls. Just a thought. Wasn't Kerry Fraser doing that at one point? I don't know if he was chiming in on a regular basis the way the NFL people do.
No. You also got to remember with the NFL, right?
You've got time between plays.
And you also have a day of games, right? Like you can't have unless Sportsnet locally here wants to hire.
But for a big game,
official.
You could do it.
Well, yeah, TNT and ESPN both have it in the States. TNT's got Stefan Ogier, so take that for whatever you want. But ESPN, I saw them on Saturday.
Why? Because Stefan Ogier had one bad moment. You can't.
He was also fired by the league because he was not a very good official. Then you want to bring him on? I mean, come on.
Listen, just the world of broadcasting is full of people who've been fired.
We know that.
We're three of them.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that.
Patrick Johnston, whose employment record is spotless, joins us now from the province.com. How are you,
Wouldn't
sir?
go that far.
How are you?
Thanks, Ricky. No, spotless. I've never been fired from a job. Somehow managed to do that.
Where are you?
I'm in my car.
Thanks.
Daycare drop-off. You know, the kids
right.
They don't understand daylight savings.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Hey, what's your explanation, Patrick, for the Canucks' slow starts? Do you have one?
If I had one, I would have told Bruce Boudreau by now. I mean, he blames. I don't know. He sort of goes with the mental preparation aspect. Sure, it is baffling given how they seem to finish the game so well. I don't know. Some teams, I mean, in the end, their record is their record. Sure, they played well under Boudreau, but the overall record sort of says this is a 500 team, and 500 teams aren't always that great in a game. The idea of the full 60 minutes. I mean, that's the other thing I always find fascinating. The full 60 minutes. I mean, how many teams really put in the full 60 minutes? We saw Tampa last night. They're one of the best teams in the league, and they definitely didn't put in a full 60, but they still won. So. If we had an answer, I mean, this is what Boudreau said. If he had the answer, I think he would have fixed it by now.
Yeah. Okay, so they got off to the poor start, and this has happened against Washington as well. It's happened a lot, and the Canucks come back, and at the very least make the game entertaining. In the case of Washington, managing a single point. How much more resilient do you think this team is with Boudreau behind the bench?
That is something that came up, and it's really that confidence aspect. And Bo Horvat talked about it, the comeback on Friday night, just the fact that early in the season, this was a team that had no answers. And I found myself thinking a lot about conversation we had with, I think it was Tyler Myers, a couple weeks before all the changes happened, so sort of late November. And I said to him, I said, you guys, you know this. You know what you need to fix. Keep talking about it. At some point, you got to do it. And he sort of looked at me and said, yeah, like it's on us. A little bit, I think, was luck. They got a little bit of change, of course, in leadership, and Boudreau changing it perhaps a bit, sort of tactics and stuff like that. And maybe just given a new sort of voice, new kind of thing to hear in the room, which always maybe makes the difference. But in the end, it is just a team that, once they get on a roll, and we saw it on Friday night, that they do have a confidence. There's a swagger there. I think they know who they are offensively. They know what's going to happen. JT Miller, obviously, just at the absolute top of his game right now. And that, more than anything, is, I think, been the difference maker. They've been obviously gotten the huge goaltending, but more than anything, it's just the fact that they've been able to create some chances and been able to finish, because that just wasn't happening in the Travis Green.
Patrick Johnston, Pat, we heard so many.
We've established it's Patrick Johnson.
I was looking at the wrong piece of paper. Of course I know him. We're buddies. We text all the time. Anyways, JT Miller. A few weeks ago, everybody thought this guy was gone.
Are we just going with full names now?
We're going with full names now.
Right.
Everybody thought he was gone, Patrick. His name was out there. You can't move him now. Look at last night. Okay, he extends his point streak. 8 shots, 6 hits, 22 minutes. He's now got 70 points, 9th in the NHL in scoring. Unbelievable run he's on, Patrick. Unbelievable.
It's one of those ones where, in the end, the highest value he'll ever have in a trade is right now, right? Like, he's still got a year to go on his contract. You can see how well he's playing. He would add so much to a cup contender. But I think we've reached a point where even if that's true, in terms of sort of what you're trying to sell here and sort of politics and optics of it all, it just feels more and more, if he is going to get traded, it's going to happen at the draft. You'll still get a good deal there. You're probably not going to extract as much from the other, from your trading partner as you might right now. But to me, that has sort of where things have lined up. And, now we find ourselves looking at who else might have to go or, because in the end, you need to make a change. They need to change things up. They do need to improve that defense. That's something that Jim Rutherford has, said openly since the time he started. He realized they needed to get quicker. They needed just more. I mean, in the end, said more of everything, but more than anything, they need more depth on defense. They need another guy on the right side. They got to look towards the future. And so you start looking at who else might go. And of course, you've heard Garland, but I do look at Brock Besser not playing a lot late in the game last night. And you start to wonder how they feel with him in general and whether he's the guy that the trade chip is going to emerge here.
Besser had 1 shift in the last 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Although I keep hearing, though, the Canucks, both sides would like to cut a new long-term deal. They're going to try, though, Patrick. Patrick, this is for Don. Any Yaroslav Halak update?
Oh,
I was told this morning nothing has changed. I was told things could change, but as of this morning, I was told that he's still not willing to waive. But that's just, it could change. What are your thoughts on it? Yeah, Taylor wants to know, what's the update on Halak?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Well, I've heard that he's a guy that would be willing to go if something comes to him. He'd be willing to say yes. That's not to say he said he will go, but he's been in this game long enough, and he can read the writing on the wall, and he's not going to play a lot to come in the weeks to come. Unless something falls out of the bottom of the team out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're not in the playoff race. But as long as they're chasing the playoff race, Dachidemko is going to be the guy. Halak has been a guy that's been mostly a starter in his career. He's been or a 1B, and that's just not how it's played out here because in the end, Demko has carried the load and hasn't had any injury struggles, and they haven't needed that insurance. And so your guy like Halak, you're going to want to play, and so here you are. I think the Canucks would be. This is a situation that goes back to last season when the decision was made not to bring in a $700K third-string goalie, which left Mike behind the 8 ball, and so Mike DiPietro's having to play in the minors, and Artur Silovs isn't playing. You got Spencer Martin there too, and Spencer Martin. Spencer Martin needed that month at the beginning of the year to kind of remake his game, and has found it. And you can see that he could be the backup. Like he's the guy that should be your inexpensive backup in a cap world, and the guy that you should be rolling the dice on. But they found themselves in this pickle that goes back to bad decisions, a year ago.
And Patrick, any idea, or at least what's your best guess on what's wrong with Elias Pettersson?
I don't have one.
They came out of nowhere.
Playing, it really did. They practiced on Saturday. Obviously, something was bugging him. You wonder if it's that risk again. They denied it, but they also said he was going to play yesterday. So I don't know. I don't have the sense that he was playing in overtime. I don't have the sense it's a skating issue. He's been picking up points. We haven't seen him necessarily been ripping off the shots, but I haven't seen him shying away from shots. So I don't know. Maybe he's got a cold. I have no idea. It really is a strange one to me.
Patrick Johnston, thank you so much for this. We appreciate it.
You're the
Don
best.
Taylor, Rick Donovan, thank you very much.
Yeah. Don't forget Ryan Anderson.
You're the best, Patty. You're the best.
The man driving the boat.
Yes, there you go. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Bye.